afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this week's virtual college visit with Topeka Public Schools. Today, we will be exploring Pittsburgh State University, and with us, we have Deandre Phillips. Mr. Phillips is actually a senior now at Pittsburgh State, and he's going to be able to share about his experiences there and also participate in question and answers. So one thing I would ask is that during the question and answer session, if you have a question, please send me a note on the chat. And then if you have your video turned on, we will go ahead and allow you to ask that question. So once again, please send me any questions via chat. All right, to start us off today, we are going to watch a short video that really shows you around Pittsburgh State. So Dr. Mack, would you share your screen?
And welcome to the campus of Pittsburgh State University. Today we're going to check out some of the cool stuff around campus and even downtown. So let's take a look. At the heart of campus, the Oval is a hub of activity, keeping guerrilla spirit alive and thriving year-round. Events like Sorority Bid Day and the Student Activities Fair take place right here. And I guarantee you'll run into friends on a daily basis, given that the Oval connects a lot of the main facilities around campus. This is the Obermann Student Center. It's got everything from food to collaboration spaces to lounging areas, meeting theater, relaxation room. It's also a place where you'll have an opportunity to get involved with student organizations like Student Government Association and Guerrillas Activities Board. When it comes to living on campus, Pitt State has a lot of options. One of our newest additions is Crimson Commons. Crimson Commons is where students enjoy modern apartment-style spaces, and it's also the place I've called home during my 4 years as a guerrilla. To learn more about residence halls on campus, go to pittstate.edu/housing. Here's one of our newest additions on campus, the Robert W. Plaza Center. Almost everyone who steps inside says the same thing. This place is phenomenal. Spanning 154,000 square feet, it houses an Olympic standard indoor track, a 100-yard practice turf, 11,000 square foot Pro Maxima strength and conditioning center, and an HD video board. Student athletes are extremely humbled to have this facility, which was due in large part from the student body, private donors, and the city of Pittsburgh. Right next to the Plaza Center is probably the most exciting addition on campus in decades, the Bignell Family Center for the Arts. Since its grand opening, we've hosted former First Lady Laura Bush, 3 touring Broadway plays, and the 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton. This is hands down the most prestigious performing arts facility in the region. And when you're a guerrilla, you'll definitely want to check out all the different types of events that happen here, most of which are free to students. Another area we want to check out is Guerrilla Village. Home to University Lake, Guerrilla Village harbors a nice, relaxing atmosphere. A lot of students have made this a location to study and hang out in between classes. Just right across from it is Champions Plaza, home to a one-of-a-kind, lifelike bronze gorilla statue. Quickly becoming the hottest spot to take a selfie on campus, Champions Plaza features personalized pavers for whoever wants to have their message engraved in the gorilla walk. Multiple events, including tailgating, happen in this place right here. People are always asking, what is there to do in Pittsburgh? Well, with a little research, you'll find that there's something happening almost every week. From festivals to the popular downtown art walk events, Pittsburgh has a wide range of entertainment and recreational activities to choose from. Whether you're a student, alum, faculty, or staff, you know that Saturdays in the fall are crazy fun. Whenever Carney Smith Stadium is packed with over 11,000 die-hard fans all cheering on their guerrillas, it's an amazing feeling. And interestingly enough, our football program is the winningest college football program throughout the entire state of Kansas and all of Division II. But of course, you don't have to take my word for it. We would love for you to schedule a visit and come check for yourself. And as we say, once a guerrilla, always a guerrilla.
All right. At this time, we are going to ask Deandre to share a little bit about his experiences at Pittsburgh State. What is it like to be a student there? What are you studying? What activities are you involved in? We just love to hear about your experience at Pittsburgh State.
Yeah, so hello everyone, and I'm gonna tell you now, watching that video brought back so many great memories, because as you can tell, a lot of us can't be on campus right now, but everything that you've seen on that video is exactly how I remember it from freshman year up until now. So my name is Deandre Phillips. I am a middle school math education major with a minor in military sciences, and military science is another way of saying ROTC. So let's just get started. Pitt State is a medium-sized college. So for most of you all, do we have any high schoolers in here, or they're all middle school?
There are both middle schoolers and high schoolers.
Great. So Pitt State is a little bit bigger than most of the high schools there, but also it's not as big as KU. And I decided to go with a middle-sized college, mainly because I was from Highland Park High School, and I liked the way we were able to actually get to know our professors and things like that. So getting started, I would say Pitt State is more so a hidden gem. I actually didn't know much about it, and how I got here was actually a funny coincidence. I had gotten one of those generic senior emails from the local colleges, and I just simply replied to one of them, just seeing if an actual person was behind the email. And I said, do you offer any scholarships for ROTC? Now, for some of y'all who don't know what ROTC is, ROTC is a class that you can actually take in high school, and it's more so familiar with the military, but each school has their own. So I know Topeka High has Marines, Highland Park has Air Force, and so on. But it actually builds your character, builds your poise, and allows you to get in tune with your professional self. So I did ROTC for 4 years in high school, and I decided, this is a fun program. I want to take it onto the college level. So when I replied to that email saying, do you offer any scholarships for ROTC? Someone actually replied back, which was to my surprise, and said, yes, we do. Here's an application. Feel free to fill it out. And that was my senior year of high school. By the end of my senior year of high school, after jumping through so many hoops and, doing the application process, I was awarded a 4-year scholarship to attend Pittsburgh State and also Kansas State University. So I had the option of choosing 2 great schools. I knew more about Kansas State because, that's a known name. But Pittsburgh State just kind of perked my curiosity. So I decided to visit that campus. And people think that Pittsburgh State is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but it's actually in like the lower corner of Kansas, believe it or not. So I drove down there. It's like 2.5 hours away from Topeka. And the campus was just so beautiful to the eye. Like I said, I like a campus that's close-knit, and it's not too small to where I feel like there's nothing to do, but it's not too big to where I feel like I would be overextended. So I was able to walk around the campus within about 20 minutes. I was able to walk in between classes, and also the living area, the dorms, was actually not too far away from everything on campus. So I wouldn't have to, get in a car every single day and, have to figure out where professors were. But moving forward, I had to fill out an application to attend the college. And I had to do my research, and I found out that Pittsburgh State, their acceptance percentage, that means how many people they take in each year, is about 87%. Now, of course, that percentage is dependent on, what your ATC score is, the application process, your resume. But I'll be honest with you all, many of you all will have to take the ACT at some point in time, and Topeka 501 has they do great about getting you all tested and allowing you all to get familiar with the test. But when I finished high school, my ATC score was a 19. And, that's a great score, but also my college requirement said that I needed a 21. So I know that could be something on your all's mind, like, what if I don't meet test requirements? But actually, if you have a great resume and you show them that, they should invest in your future, they can actually waive that for you. But also I recommend, instead of going through the hoops, practice now on how to get a better score in high school, so that way you won't have to do that. But don't allow those test scores to not want you to pursue your goals. So moving forward, I finally got accepted. I was so happy. And starting freshman year, it was a bit of a experience to go through. Topeka is a very diverse city, as you all know, and Pittsburgh is more rural. So I like to say it's more country than Topeka is. And I had to understand and adapt to that culture. And honestly, freshman year, I didn't quite like it at first because I didn't understand it. But after being there for about 6 months, I started to understand the culture, understand, how to have fun in a place that's not Topeka, because I was born and raised in Topeka. So I was able to get acclimated with, the programs that they offered on campus, such as the Black Student Association, such as student government associations, and my new fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha. And once I was able to join these different programs, then I was able to take some type of ownership and feel great about living on campus. So, I know that college is some years above the road, but also when you get there, just understand that you will go through some phases in which, at first it might not seem as clear or you might not feel as good, but those phases are something that you have to work through in order to get to the goal that you want. I knew that college was always one of my goals in life. I knew that from a middle school age, but I just didn't quite know how to get there. And, I had speakers tell me, you just got to do really great in high school, but, there's not an easy roadmap to get into college. So something that I recommend for all of you is to always talk to a high school or middle school counselor about what your goals are. When people understand what your goals are in life, the more than likely willing to help you get there, because people love seeing other people succeed, as Topeka 501 is a great district for doing so. But moving forward, I kind of struggled a little bit my freshman year in college because, it was a new type of experience. I had to deal with having my own class schedule, creating my own class schedule, creating friend groups, doing all these different classes. And I had to make the hardest decision of choosing my academic major. And that's really when I say academic major, that means what you are going to get your degree in. So when I was first in college, my freshman year, my degree was in business management. And I really chose that because I was like, hey, that sounds like a great degree to get. And it sounds like I would make a lot of money. But I wasn't actually, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know what kind of job I could get. I just chose it. So the advice that I can give you all in regards to choosing an academic major in college is actually to start right now on figuring out what do you really envision yourself doing when you get older. I'd always had these big dreams of, when I was in middle school, I thought, maybe I could be a chef, maybe I could be a TV star, maybe I could be a singer, although I can't really sing, but maybe I could do all these great things, but I was too afraid to pursue those. But I'll be the first person to tell you, if you haven't been told already, but you can become and pursue anything that you want. And I know that sounds a little corny, but it's true though. As long as you have the drive, the passion, and the desire to become that thing. A lot of people, couldn't imagine themselves becoming, elected positions. I know I read Obama's book and he said he would have never imagined that he would have became president. But somebody told him that he could, and he decided to go for it. So I'll be the first person to tell you, you could be whatever you choose to be. But you have to stay focused. So I knew in high school, I told myself, and I talked to my mentors, what do I have to do to go to college? They said, in high school, you got to take your grades seriously. You got to make sure that you're involved in extracurricular activities in high school, whether that's sports, whether that's student government, whether that's Scholars Bowl. Just do something in high school to build up a great resume for your adult life. Also, when you're in programs in high school, they'll allow you to present yourself in a professional manner, such as junior ROTC. So when I was able to do things like that, filling out that application process to college was a lot easier for me because I already had a great resume coming out of high school onto college. So moving forward, so I am about a junior now. I just finished my junior year and now I'm a senior. And what that means is that I will soon be graduating spring of 2021, and I'll be able to look for a job. But actually, let me backtrack for a second. I had said that I was a business administration major. And when I had that epiphany of changing my major, it was actually quite random because I know choosing your major is going to be the hardest decision you have to do in college. I'll be honest with you all. But how I was able to do that was because I had taken a summer job as a lifeguard in Topeka, and I was given the opportunity to be a swim coach instructor. So I was working with little kids, teaching them how to swim. And one of these days, I had this little kid, and he was in one of my classes, and then he graduated and went to my other classes after that. And I just started realizing I really enjoyed teaching kids. I enjoyed seeing them, grow. I enjoyed seeing, how they first started to when they graduated my class, and they have that moment of, I can actually do this, and I want to try it on my own. And that really gave me the passion to tell myself, although I might not be as good in mathematics, I think I'm gonna still pursue it, because if I'm able to, enjoy it so much teaching a kid, I'll enjoy it so much for a lifetime, teaching kids through generations. So in regards to choosing an academic major, again, I just recommend that you all take personal assessment surveys that are offered online, or talk to a high school counselor and tell them, here's what I'm thinking, what can I do today? Many of them would suggest that, you could try different jobs like I had, or you can do more research, watch online videos, etc. But yes, now I'm a senior and I'm soon to graduate, which means I'll actually become an adult, and I'll actually have to do adult things like, work every day, get my own house. And I'll be honest with you, it sounds a bit scary to me right now, but I have confidence because I knew that I had support. And that's something that you all can gain throughout high school. When you're able to work with your counselors and tell them your goals, you create a great support system that can stay with you throughout high school and beyond. Topeka 501 has been that support system for me, and I'm sure that they'll be the same thing for you. But again, you just have to tell them your goals, and they'll help you get there. So now I'm going to talk about things I wish I had done in high school in preparation for college. Some of you may be taking AP courses or advanced placement courses, but I actually didn't know in high school that those courses can be offered as college credit. So when I had found out, I actually didn't have the funds to pay for those courses to be college credit. But when I came to college, a lot of students who came in with me had, associate's degree. They had 30 college credit, meaning that they were, a sophomore, although we came in at the same year. So what I recommend for you all to do is when you take these AP courses, talk to those teachers and instructors. How can I get college credit for that? I know a lot of high schools now across the country, students are graduating with associate's degrees. Students are graduating with their CNA credentials or their technology credentials. And I think those are excellent paths for you all to figure out and try to do, because I wish I could have done that. And lastly, I wish that I would have in high school probably did more extracurricular activities such as sports and finished it out through senior year. Because I know when senior year comes, you can get this thing called senioritis, and it's a true thing, I promise you. And that just means that, your motivation starts to deteriorate. But you can't let that happen, because again, from the moment that you step into high school and beyond, you got to have your mindset on, I'm here for a reason, and I'm here for a goal to achieve that goal. And again, that goal is to always graduate beyond high school and possibly go to college or a technical school. Also, a point that I forgot to mention, four-year colleges are great, but in regards to financing them, I understand, I came from a low-income house, a single-parent household, and I'm also a first-generation college student, which means that I'm the first person in my family to attend a university. So, I didn't know how I was going to pay for this, but great thing is that I know my high school, and I'm pretty sure other high schools in 501, they emphasize scholarships. when you are a junior, you can actually start applying for these scholarships and apply for as many scholarships as possible, okay? A lot of these scholarships go unclaimed because students don't believe that they have the credentials, or they don't believe that they meet the requirements to get these scholarships. And because so many students don't believe that they're worth it, they don't actually attempt to even apply for these scholarships. I will tell you honestly, half of the scholarships that I have gotten is because, number one, I was the only person to apply for them, and number two, I met the requirements to get those scholarships. So look for all the scholarships, work them out with your teacher or your counselor, and apply for as many as you can. And remember, the money that you get from these scholarships is unlimited. And I'm gonna let you on a little secret. My college cost about $14,000 a school year, which means each year I'm supposed to pay $14,000. But if I have scholarships that are above $14,000, let's say $20,000, that means that, and I'm gonna do a little math here, that means that I'm gonna have $6,000 extra dollars that is just out there in the open. And what that means for you all is that you can actually keep that $6,000 and pay for things like book expenses and other things like that. So you have the option of going to college absolutely free, just like I am, by applying for so many scholarships. And I recommend, if you're a first generation college student and you think that maybe you might not have the financial support, talk to anyone you can about getting these scholarships and apply for as many as you can. And the last point I wanted to send home with you all is that I actually met a lot of great speakers this year. And one great speaker had told me, well, he had discussed with me, he said, many people think that their past forms them. I was definitely one of those people. I thought, my past, forms me, it makes me, it is the reason why I am today. But the truth is, your past only informs you, so that way the decision that you make in the future can be one you made based upon your past. So what that means exactly is that, my past of having a low ACT score, I could have allowed that situation to tell me, I don't meet the requirements, I shouldn't go to college, I'm just below average. But I decided to make a decision based upon that information and say, you know what, I want to go above what they give me. I want to try to achieve something better. I want to try to make a new path for me, and not only do this for myself, but do this for, the future generation, such as my nieces and nephews and my future kids. And when you're on this path to success, you're able to actually uplift a lot of your peers around you, and you're able to actually uplift your whole community because they're seeing, hey, it is possible for you to get from here to there. So with that being said, again, I wanted to thank you all for having this opportunity, for allowing me to tell you my experience. And I understand we got about 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna open it up for questions. And remember, ask any type of question you want, and I will try to give you the best answer I can.
Mr. Phillips, I do want you to know, if you haven't realized, Dr. Anderson has joined us. I know she and I are both big fans of yours. So Dr. Anderson, welcome. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, I had to make sure I stepped away from another Zoom to get in on this one. We are so proud of you, and thank you for giving your time. We can't wait for you to start teaching in Topeka Public Schools. Truly, you are exceptional. I'm going to save this time for our students to ask questions, but congratulations on your tremendous success. I do want to ask one question to make sure you did address this particular item. You first started, you got involved in a lot of clubs. Did you talk about, the clubs that you were involved in as a college student and how you took advantage of that? That's one piece that I wanted to ask. And if you had to send our middle schoolers, some who are middle schoolers on this call, away with one key piece of advice, if they're in 7th or 8th grade, you have high schoolers on the call, but you also have middle schoolers. Is there a key piece of advice for your 7th graders that might be on this call as well?
Yeah. So in college, I was trying to get involved with as many activities as possible. So I first started off by joining the Black Student Association here on campus, just to know more about our culture, and also just to get a new experience here on campus. Then I was able to join I was able to become a resident assistant which means that the college was able to pay for my full housing. And that was just one bill that I wouldn't have to pay for just to be a part of a program. So, you know, figuring out whatever ways I can to alleviate that financial cost was my goal. So in BSA, I was able to, you know, become the Black Student Association president and, you know, represent my campus and build a great resume. And then I was able to join my fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, and gain a large network of people within the world, actually, for future references. Now, for my middle school students, and I apologize for not addressing you all directly, but I think an advice that I can give y'all is that start your research now. And y'all are actually doing this by being on this call with me. But start your research and start to get to know more about yourself. Again, in middle school, I was kind of curious. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and that is perfectly fine. But, you know, start taking more surveys, start trying out new jobs, or trying to work with new things. You know, if you know your uncle who's a farmer and you're curious about that, look into that. But now is a great time for you to start looking into what do you see yourself being? And then when you figure out what you want to be, tell other people about your goals and dreams. And like I said earlier, when people understand your goals and dreams, they're more than likely willing to help you get there.
That's excellent. Thank you. So I'm going to turn it over to students who may want to ask questions, or Ms. Risley, if there's something else you think should come up once students ask questions they may have.
Yes, at this time we are going to call on Kia Moni for the first question, please.
Hello, my name is Kia Moni Myers-Lewis, and I am a first-year student at college prep and a 7th grader at Landon Middle School. And my question is, what is your best college experience so far?
My best college experience. So in ROTC, I'm in the Army as well. So we have the opportunity during football games to shoot a very large cannon every time our football team makes a touchdown. And, you know, usually they give that opportunity to seniors, but I was just so fortunate to have this opportunity. So I got to pull this string and like hear this large cannon go off. And just like I said earlier, the video that you all saw about Pittsburgh State is my reality. Of course, it's not every day, but the fun that we have on this campus is just unlimited, and it's awesome.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will be from Kyra.
Hello, I'm Kyra Burney. I'm a freshman, and I'm a 2-year college prep student. I was part of the first class. And my question was actually the opposite. Like, what was one of the worst experiences you've had going into college? And because I always hear the positive, I'm like, what's the worst thing that's happened to people while in college?
And that's a great question to ask, and a great point. A lot of us don't know the negatives about things. I would say the negative, kind of like I mentioned earlier about the phases that you go through when you're in college. My freshman year, it was just kind of hard to adapt initially to the different culture, to the different environment. And I can be honest, I felt a bit homesick. But in the opportunity, I chose to join student organizations to make a new network of friends to keep close to me. And I'll tell you one thing, that freshman year is probably the hardest, not academically, but emotionally, because you're adapting to a new environment. And a lot of students, it's just a tough path to get through. So once you make it through that freshman year, then college is so much enjoyable and it's so much better as an experience. But I could say that's beyond just Pittsburgh State, that's nationwide. So yeah.
Thank you. Our next question will be from Olivia Tatum.
Go ahead, Olivia.
Olivia says she's still up there. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Tatum. I'm 7th grade and a first-year college prep scholar. And my question is, what are the dorms like?
Oh, yeah. So the dorms, in the dorms, you actually fill out this nice survey whenever you apply to colleges. And within that survey, they kind of link you to whoever you best match up with. And surprisingly, I thought I was the only one from Topeka to go to Pittsburgh State, but a guy from Topeka High actually went to Pittsburgh State, and we were both doing the same minor, ROTC, and we actually got matched up together, whether that's because we were from the same hometown or because we had the same minor. But fill out that survey as honest as you can, because with my roommate, me and him are like twins. He's the twin brother I never knew I had. I actually became roommates with him. He lives in this apartment with me. And, you know, the dorms are just you and a roommate, and you live in a residence hall, and you have something called an RA who's in charge of that hall. But the dorms are super fun. You meet awesome people, and I recommend, most colleges require this, but live on campus for your freshman year, or as long as possible, because then you're able to meet so many great people down the road.
Thank you. The next person, Ms. Foster, had a question as well.
It says that I'm muted. Am I muted?
No, we
hear
can
me?
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Hi, Deandre, and this is Ms. Foster again. And my question of you is this. You mentioned resume in several of the sentences that you have spoken. How can I, as a teacher, help my students prepare a good resume? Should we start now?
Oh, yes. So as an educator, start as early as possible, and an easy resume builder is always community service. I was able, because of junior ROTC in high school, we documented every community service hour we had, and I was able to show on my resume that I had over 150 hours of community service. And when colleges see that, you know, it's very surprising, because, you know, they wouldn't have guessed that many young people are out here in their community trying to make it better. But when students are able to show the colleges like, hey, I'm more than just a high school student or a middle school student, I'm able to show you that, you know, I want to get involved in my community, and this is why you should invest in my future. It just looks so much better. And also get to know your students, and I'm pretty sure you know them exactly, and recommend extracurricular activities that are catered towards them. So I know not everyone can be or wants to be an athlete, but some students can excel in Scholars Bowl and art club and anime club, anything you could think about. Putting those things on your resume just allows you to build a strong foundation.
Thank you.
Great. And our last question is from Jackie Perez.
Hello, my name is Jackie Perez. I'm a freshman at Highland Park, and I'm also in ROTC. So I was wondering, how do you feel like ROTC in high school helped you during your college experience?
So like I said earlier, and I'm glad that you're from Highland Park, because I was from Highland Park, so yeah. But ROTC in high school, and again, if ROTC is not something that's made for you, there's other ways to get to college other than that. But moving forward, it prepared me in an excellent way, because that program provided me the professional skills I needed to present myself in a college atmosphere. I was able to learn public speaking experiences. I was able to gain all those community service hours that I mentioned, and they were also documented. But one of the greatest things was my ROTC instructor, and I know it's a 501 district, we have such great instructors. He was actually a personal mentor to me, and mentor meaning that he guided me and kind of showed me how to do things to prepare me as an adult. And he was just really that mentor I needed. So whenever I had questions about, you know, how do I get my driver's license? Things outside of just, you know, the typical school setting, he was able to answer those questions for me and also give me the resources I needed to start pursuing those things. So I definitely recommend ROTC. And if you don't know much about it, you're free to try the class any year in high school and just see if it fits for you.
And Deandre, I know that they're sharing that that's the last question. I would be remiss in this COVID-19 season not to ask you about this whole period of social isolation, and how are you feeling? Because you have some young people on the line who, you know, have a great deal of socializing at high school and middle school and are experiencing this. And any words of encouragement in terms of how you're dealing with it as a college student, and any thoughts you have, since this is an unusual season for all to experience.
Oh, yes. So I definitely understand, you know, this is unusual to all of us. I've never experienced anything like this in my lifetime, but, you know, I'm a true optimistic person, and I always try to look at, you know, what this situation has the potential to be something good. So what are the good things within this situation? I was able to figure out, you know, I could take this time inside the house to learn more about myself or take up new hobbies. So let's see if I'm a good singer or not. Let's see if I can draw. And if I, you know, find things that fit, thank you, I'm gonna work harder on those. If I find things that I don't actually like, okay, what's next up? But also I was able to get off of electronics. And I know that's kind of hard to say given that we have, you know, school wired through virtual lectures and things, but always take time out of the day to spend time outside. Of course, social distancing and practicing, you know, being safe. But, you know, I see a lot of parents with their children, they're taking walks around the neighborhood. They're walking through, you know, trails and things like that that are offered that are still open. Or they're even just sitting outside on their lawn playing a nice game of basketball with themselves. But there is a way for you to still social distance, but also try to find ways to not, you know, isolate yourself inside the household.
Thank you.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate you coming today. Thank you. And we just can't wait until you're a middle school math teacher in Topeka Public Schools. So it'll be wonderful. And what middle school did you attend? We know you went to Highland Park, but what middle school?
So my middle school was actually Chase Middle School. And I'm actually not sure exactly which middle school I want to return to, but anyone they offer me, I'm going to go forth with the best and positive attitude as possible. So thank you.
Well, we thank you so much, and we just appreciate you being here with us today. And thank you everyone for coming. As a reminder, we have these college visits every Friday at 1 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.